Good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the ISCO and Council of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Board of Management of Autodex Limited, I'd like to welcome you to the second day edition of the Farm Food and Allied Technologies Expo. To commence proceedings, can we please rise for the national anthem? Thank you very much. Let's please be kindly seated. Once again, I'd like to welcome you all to the day 2 of the Farm, Food and Allied Technologies Expo holding here at the Velodrome Sports Complex of the National Stadium, Abuja. On behalf of the President of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Chief Emeka Obegolu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the entire ESCO and Council of ACCI, the Board of Management of Autodex Limited, our sponsors, Frexim Bank, UBA, and of course the members of the private sector here present, where I will not forget to mention the representatives of the various government agencies, the security agencies and security agents here present, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'd like to welcome you to the second panel session, which has the topic Good Agricultural Practice Gap and Standards for Export and Imports. Leading conversations for today is the Vice President Agric at the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, our very own Dr. Bode Thompson. Can we please give him a round of applause as he makes his way to the stage here? Please give him a better round of applause, please. Thank you very much. Next, we have, representing the management of NASAL, Engineer Baba Robert, Head Production and Advisory Service, NASAL. Can we give him a round of applause as he makes his way to the stage, please? Thank you. We also have with us the President of the Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, who is here represented by a very good friend of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Surveyor Emmanuel Obunda, who happens to be the treasurer of the Port Harcourt Chamber. Round of applause for him, please. Next, beautiful coincidence that makes for gender balance, please join me with a round of applause as we invite Ms. Annabelle Kamuche, GMD NISAT. A round of applause for her, please. We are still expecting the representatives of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, the Sugar Council, NCAM, and NADDC. But however, we will commence proceedings and they can join us. Please, can I have one of the ushers reach out to I beg your pardon. We actually have with us the representative of the Executive Secretary of the Sugar Council in the person of Alhaji Balarabe Ladan. A round of applause for him. Alhaji, we are looking rather much more handsome and younger than you used to be. Perhaps that is why I thought it was just one young man there. Can we give him another round of applause, please? You're welcome, sir. So I will now hand over the microphone to the lead discussant, Dr. Bode Thompson. Thank you, sir. Please, can someone ensure that the delegate mics are working? They don't seem to be working. All right, thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon or good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to this great event, Farmfatech, Food Farm, and Agro-Allied Processing and Technology. Today is the second day of this event. Today, Wednesday, 6th November, year 2024. And we shall be focusing on the panel session 2. And then our targeted audience, of course, is food processing companies, agribusiness entrepreneurs, exporters, importers, policymakers, researchers, and regulators. And of course, the theme of the event we are, currently taking now, good agricultural practice, that is GAP, and standard for export and import. My name is Olashitemi Bode Thompson. I will be moderating this session. And I advise you sit, relax, and let's get the best of this moment. Again, my name is Olashitemi Bode Thompson. I'm the Vice President on Agri, Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry. All right, we are supposed to have on our panel list this morning SON, that is Standard Organization of Nigeria. I guess they might still be on their way. NEPC, Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Then Sugar Council of Nigeria. INCAM, National Center for Agricultural Mechanization. NADDC, National Automotive Design and Development Council. And of course, NISA, Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk sharing system for agriculture. But currently on our list of panelists currently seated, we have the honor to have NICOMSAT, the Group Managing Director, Annabelle Kamushe. No. All right. Just for clarity, it's NISAT. NISAT. They are only in partnership with ECOSAT. All right. We shall be starting with the panelists we have on the table prepared this morning. All right. First of all, I want to let us understand that this is a Farmfatech, a program that is designed to ensure that we are able to maximize and take advantage of the opportunities we have around agriculture. You and I know how vast agriculture is. Someone made mention yesterday that agriculture is so good and is so accommodating that it accommodates both the old and the young. It accommodates female and male. It accommodates the rich and the poor. It gives room for everybody to be able to play a role. So it's an industry we need to look critically into. It's an industry that can actually solve significantly the issue we are facing in our nation, Nigeria. For the country that have been able to take advantage of this opportunity, they are not begging. So this morning, we want to ensure the conversation is focused and insightful and valuable to target, the audience attention. And of course, the idea is to maximize and engage relevant body, which we already have on the panelists this morning. So I want to welcome my panelists on the table this morning. You are all welcome. And we'll be starting our conversation just one after the other. But at start, maybe we'll give like about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes response to each question we'll be addressing this morning. But I must let us understand that with the topic we have, I've mentioned the topic. The topic is going to be focusing on equipment quality. So you may take note, because we're going to be responding on that. Spare parts, durability, ease of doing business in Nigeria, especially in focusing on agriculture. So this is what our panelists will be responding to this morning. And I think I should start by letting you know that the whole essence is to create a productive discussion. Of course, we're going to be getting questions from the audience. So if you have any question you want to ask, you can begin to put them together and get it across to us. So the discussion will be focusing on ensuring that we have a productive engagement this morning, and ensuring that we also navigate and succeed around exports and imports of different agro-produce. Then I will be encouraging our panelists this morning to bring out actionable ideas, real-life examples, and of course, potential collaboration that could facilitate growth in Nigeria agricultural industry. So I'm not envious of you because you're on us this morning, and I guess you will do justice to it. I will start with NISA, the representative of NISA. Right? Okay. Please, when we get to you, you quickly do a brief introduction, then you go straight to answer some of these questions. So, I want to ask that you give us your focus on financing and risk management in agriculture. How can NISA support farmers and agro-business in assessing and maintaining quality equipment? That is one. Are there incentives or programs in place to support spare parts, availabilities, and technical support? Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Engineer Baba. I work for NASA. NASA is the Nigerian incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending. It's a very, very long name that people normally don't want to call. But if you look at NASA, you will see that risk-sharing, lending, is key issues. So it's relevant to the question you asked. If I get you right, you said, how can NASA support agricultural actors to access funding for equipments? Then is there any incentive for spare parts and mechanization equipments? I will start by saying yes. NASA's function, that is to facilitate the flow of finance into agriculture, covers this aspect. But let me go back a little. There must be a reason why NASA was formed, and I'll give you a brief background. Nigerian agriculture was faced by varieties of challenges, which include poor productivity and then no access to finance for agriculture. These were the key major issues why NASA was formed. Why was this thing so prominent? Because the financiers, especially the private sector, believe that agriculture is too risky. So if somebody believes that a business is too risky, he may not invest his money. So NASA was formed to remove that risk, or to de-risk it, as we call it, such that the financiers will be attractive, and then agriculture will have finance that it requires. By the way, I don't know if we know, the Nigerian agricultural sector needs at least 28 trillion naira to fix it to competitive level. So we should keep that one at the back of our mind when we are talking about financing agriculture. And at my last check, the entire budget for the nation is around 27.5 trillion. So let's look at it. We have a big challenge on our hand. So let's come back to functions of NASA and financing mechanization. Yes, NASA has been supporting mechanization through a series of engagement with stakeholders in the mechanization services. We have provided risk guarantee for organized mechanization service providers, including the prominent TOHAN. So we support them how? Any person or group of persons that are providing mechanization services can knock at NASA's gate and say, I have so number of group of farmers that I want to service. Can you support me access funding? Then we look at your business and guide you on how to approach your bank. And then if you approach your bank and the bank is comfortable with your business, the bank send to NASA request to guarantee you. Let me make a small explanation on the guarantee. Normally in the banking sector or any lending, When somebody wants to give you money, you ask for collateral. Collateral could be choice asset in choice places like Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos, which we know mechanization services are provided to farmers in the rural area. So how do you expect a farmer to give you choice asset in Port Harcourt, Lagos, or Abuja? So that's where NASAL comes in. So NASAL is the big brother of the mechanization service provider that will stand for it. That, okay, you take this money, you don't have collateral to give. NASAL will give you a guarantee that ranges between 35 to 75, depending on what you do with the equipment. If you are going to just do maybe transportation of produce, it may be lower. But if you have a group of farmers that you are going to give them services of tractorization or harvesting, the guarantee reaches up to 75%. We are currently reviewing it to 80%. So, NASAL is on ground to support mechanization service providers to access funding. Incentives for spare parts. Normally, under normal circumstances and in clients that are developed, when you buy an equipment, it comes with spare parts of at least 2 years. Though we know it may not be all true in part of Africans and here. Sometimes you just go buy tractor, they just give you the tractor without even the harrow or a plow, depending on what you want sometimes, but it's supposed to come with spare parts. So NASA will guarantee the value of that tractor, including the spare parts. So that's number one incentive. The second incentive is if you have a cluster of farmers and you borrow to service them, and then you pay back as when you did not default. The Central Bank of Nigeria have this program that is called interest drawback. So NASA taps into that interest drawback to assist the borrower to get 40% rebate on the interest he paid. So you can see if you paid, say, 32% or 30% to buy an equipment, by the time you operate it and pay back, if you get the rebate, 40% of 32% will bring you down to maybe around 16, 17% or something like that, less than 20%. So that is an incentive that encourages mechanization service providers to come to NASA and discuss and approach the banks, such a way that at least we open the doors for you to borrow and provide mechanization services to Nigerian farmers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we'll still come back to you to get one or two clarities on some of the points you have made. And then, should in case anybody from the audience has any question, quickly note them down. I'll be going for, the next question will be going for Sugar Council. And this will be talking about durabilities and reliabilities of agricultural equipment. So, to start with you, sir, in your experience, how critical is equipment durabilities for maintenance or maintaining quality and efficiency in agricultural production? For example, could you highlight any initiatives or recommendation for ensuring that farmers have access to long-lasting machineries? So while you're answering your question, you also respond to this. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. All protocol observed. Before I indulge into the question being raised, as you know, my introduction yesterday, just to recap, the National Sugar Development Council is an agency under the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment charged with the responsibility of promoting local sugar production. The agency was established to see into how Nigeria can become autonomous in terms of sugar production. As you know, Nigeria consumes 2 million metric tons of sugar annually. And this sugar, 95 to 97% of that sugar is being imported. So it's being imported from Brazil, India, and small portion European Union. But the important aspect of this is how do we become autonomous and become independent in terms of producing our sugar. So that was the genesis of creating, establishing National Sugar Development Council, which has a roadmap called the Nigerian Sugar Master Plan. We are now in phase 2, and that Nigerian Sugar Master Plan now is being reviewed to make sure it tallies with realities on ground in terms of the land required to produce these 2 million metric tons. We need about 250,000 hectares to produce the 2 million metric tons. Then these 250,000 hectares, we need various capacity of sugar factories that will process the sugar cane. As you know, Nigeria is a tropical country. Our sugar base is from sugar cane, not sugar beet. Sugar beet is for the temperate countries. So under the leadership of Mr. Kamar Bakrin, who I represented, the executive secretary, we have had about 5 pillars initiative embedded within the Nigerian Sugar Master Plan phase 2. That means introduction of robust technology for land mapping and viability assessment, because the Sugar Council has identified more than 38 sites of various capacities from 3,000 hectares up to 30,000 hectares for sugarcane. So new idea was brought in how we do the land mapping to do remote sensing and GIS to ensure that any investor that comes for sugar investment, he has a reliable data he can use. And we have land in almost all parts of the country, which was brought to us by the host communities or by the state government and the local government. So this land, as part of the incentive, are ready for uptake for the sugar investors. As you know, sugar investment is a very lucrative business. Why am I saying so? Apart from sugar being produced, we have also byproduct, which is derived from the sugar, which we call molasses. The molasses now can be diversified to produce ethanol. The ethanol can be used for pharmaceuticals, beverages, and even in our motor vehicles. You can have 1 gallon of ethanol and 2 gallons of petrol and mix, and you can use your vehicle, and it will clean your engine, not only combustion for providing energy for your vehicle to move. And then we have other byproducts. From the bagasse produced, you can produce a generated extra electricity. To that extra electricity, you can sell it to national grid. As you know, when you start sugar factory, the power being produced by sugar factory cannot be consumed by the factory. Apart from the sugar being produced, I mean the power for boiling and producing the sugar and for the lighting of the factory houses, you can have extra power that you can use for the irrigation pumps to irrigate your sugarcane plantation, and at the same time export the extra power, depending on the capacity of the sugar factory. And also, from the same sugar factory, you can have a pulp and paper industry. You can have an organic fertilizer industry, the byproduct of ethanol. So there are a couple of benefits there. In countries that has gone far, like Brazil, which is number one as a producer of more than 43 million metric tons a year of sugar, they are not into using fossil fuel for energy. They are using the ethanol produced from sugarcane, from the sugar byproduct. That is what they also use not only in their motor vehicles, they also use it in flying their aeroplanes. So you see the potentials of the sugar industry is enormous. I don't want to prolong further. The Nigerian government, through the National Sugar Development Council, has provided incentives for investors who want to come into these untapped resources of the sugar investment. That means we have provision of land, and then at a very affordable rate, either for leasing or for buying. the Sugar Council will come into it. And then we have a 5 years tax holiday. And then we have a 0% duty. All imported sugar machinery and equipment, including field equipment, are attracting zero duty. So when you are importing this machinery, you have zero duty. And then complete total repatriation of your funds for investors that are foreign investors. No ceiling that you are leaving anything behind. You complete repatriation of your proceeds. So this is part of the investment. And also, we conduct pre-feasibility study, even go to the extent of providing you with a business plan to guide the investors. And also, we produce and we construct feeder roads for transporting sugarcane. And to tell you, the sugar investment in Nigeria is friendly. We don't move the host community to go to anywhere, but we ensure there was corporate social responsibility. And we also construct feeder roads for transportation of this sugarcane, provision of other social amenities to the host community in terms of hospitals, schools, and also some working capital for those who want to go into sugarcane as grower. As you know, the sugar industry it cannot be able to produce the whole sugarcane it needs. Apart from the sugar plantation, we expect that 40% of the sugarcane should come from the outgrower. And this outgrower, there are small-scale holders who can key into supplying the sugarcane. Part of the incentive, Sugar Council is giving 100% loan at single-digit interest to these farmers. Provision of free training for harvest, from planting up to harvesting, and also provision of insurance. All that one is done for the smallholder farmers. And of course, we provide consultancy services to an investor that may have not started this investment or who have not been used to this investment. So there is a lot of ample potentials which are embedded in this Nigerian Sugar Master Plan, which has a period of 10 years plan. And by the grace of God, before we reach 2037, when the master plan is to be completed, we expect Nigeria to produce more than half of its requirement. This is pillar number 1 of robust technology. The second pillar introduced by the Executive Secretary, Mr. Kamal Bakrin, is provision of access to financing, which the moderator has already mentioned, of $5 billion. So Sugar Council is making effort in sourcing this funding. I know, of course, it's not easy internally, but there was progress in terms of contacting Exim Bank of India, Brazil, other sources of funding for those investors. We have also collaboration with Uttam Energy. It's a manufacturer in India who have access to loan, access to funding, so that if you are to establish any sugar factory, you just sign your agreement, and without no collateral, but agreement with a letter of credit. And Sugar Council is standing in between, and the manufacturer will install, just like you are building a house, you just show your engineer a plot of land, he will just hand over the key to you. That is what the Uttam Energy we have can do. And we have also state government that has shown interest in this sugar investment. We have the Niger State Governor, who has also secured about 143,000 hectares in Shiruru irrigation project basin for production of, for establishment of about 5 units of 5,000 to 10,000 ton cane per day, promoted by Niger Foods and Security Limited. So as you can see, with the coming of this new administration of Mr. Kamal Bakrin, we are able to have a support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as part of the incentive for those who come into a bigger capacity of factory from 5,000 ton cane per day. They are having also a backward integration where an investor will be allowed to import raw sugar and have a refinery at 5% duty, 5% levy, instead of paying 100%. So he can use that money, the profit he makes in refining that refined sugar, to plow it back to his sugar factory site. So all these incentives are being improved. And of course, as we go along, we are trying to see whatever there's challenges, we work on it. Then if I may come to the issue of what the moderator mentioned on ensuring equipment quality and spare parts. In fact, as you know, I want to just relate with the sugar industry. The equipment under the sugar industry, we have pester. Pester are mostly stainless and durable, and also the cost is higher than the second tier. The first tier is the one produced by BME, manufacturers in Germany. The second tier is the one produced by Sucrana in Brazil. We have the third tier, which is produced in India. But all of them, to be honest with the moderator, is issue of maintenance and taking them to test as time goes on.
Okay.
The major problem we have with this equipment is not that they are not durable, but the maintenance and the modality of how it should be, how should be utilized. That's why, however, the quality of an equipment, if there is no proper guidance in usage and maintenance, you virtually have to have a problem.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
And then, before I even stop, if Nigeria, under the National Center for Agricultural Mechanization income, we need to go into partnership with some manufacturing countries. As
Okay,
you know,
we will come back to that.
Yes.
That will be the next aspect we'll be talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's give a round of applause. Yes, we'll be taking it face by face because I'm sure he's eager to really, let out many of this information on time. But we'll be taking it bit by bit, so everybody will be able to take, some of the key points from what you're saying. So we'll come back to you, sir. So let's quickly go to Chief Emmanuel Obunda, and I will be just asking a question on, talking about equipment and quality for standard, for export and the rest. So the question will be, from your own perspective, how can agricultural mechanization improve quality in agricultural export? And that is one. Are there specific certification or technology requirements for equipment meant for export orientation productions? So, there are two in one question now. So we would love you to respond to this as much as you can. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, the moderator. And I want to appreciate the organizer of this Farmfatech for putting together this wonderful expo for us to come and share ideas and then grow our developmental strides in agriculture. Very quickly to state, I am from Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce. Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce is right in Port Harcourt, the center of Rivers State. Talking about Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, I am also going to let you know that as we are sister to this chamber body that has organized this, it may interest you to know that Rivers State is embodied with so many agricultural strides, which include the blue economy, which most of you may not understand. Talking about blue economy, Rivers State is at the center. So for some of you who may want to invest into blue economy, I want to tell you, working with Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, you are invited. And I wish to tell you that you will definitely benefit from it, as that has been one of the focus of the governor. Our governor has put in much interest on that. And so many people are welcome into that. Also to let you know that we are also in other areas of agricultural produce, which includes cassava production. River State is large in cassava production. Some of you may not know. We're also large in palm production. And I will stop there to also let you know that this and many more River State had stood out in it. So you are also welcome to be part of River State in that regard.
Thank you very much.
If you really want to invest. So going by the question he has asked, I want to also let you know that technology today is the in thing. It is the pivot for very agricultural interest that we are all expecting. And so if we begin to deny ourselves or lose the fact that agricultural technology does not mean anything, that means we'll be lacking in the agricultural global world. So agriculture, technology is a welcome development, and in my interest, because I may not be able to statistically mention or quantify in the neighborhood the level of technology that agriculture technology producers have done in in Nigeria as a whole, because I may not stand the facts. But generally, technology is one important aspect in growing agriculture, whether be it in any sector of agriculture. And you know, agriculture, like our last speaker has spoken, he talked on sugarcane, and you can also hear him, even our brother in Nasser, who had also talked about in his own area, had also mentioned on the areas of technology, how they can come in to support technology. Our sugarcane also have also enumerated how they have also done well in assessing and also helping in the production of sugarcane. Now he said 95% of sugar we take here in Nigeria is mostly imported, and that all their effort is to reduce that number, where Nigerians will be part of the production, so that we too can also benefit both in the production, as we are the major users. Because people who are also producing that we are importing from, they are the one making the dollars, and we are here only as a consumer. So it is not for the best interest of Nigeria to only remain a consumer. We have to be the producer as well, as this is going to help us here in Nigeria, both income value and also not only on income value, at least employment, which is very important, because our children need to understand this. Like the moderator said, it is for every life, whether young, whether old, whether child, a woman, man, big, rich or poor. Agriculture is center for all. And so we must learn to embrace it. And how can we do that? We must also embrace it, new technologies that have been also subscribed to us, so that we can also grow in that agriculture. And I want to say, without technology, we will go nowhere. Because technology is a wonderful opportunity to grow better in agriculture and stand our feet in export promotion. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. Yes. Thank you very much, sir. That is quite interesting. Before we proceed to our next panel to speak, you know, they said it's supposed to be ladies first, but we decided to keep the ladies to the last so she could get a partner. So luckily for you, man, now you have a partner. So it is my joy to recognize Mrs. Abdusalam, the manager, Nigeria Agricultural Insurance Corporation. We'd love to have you on the panel table, ma. Please kindly come over. Let's give a round of applause. Let's keep clapping until she gets to her seat. Thank you, thank you. All right, quickly. Now we can begin with the ladies. Don't forget, they say, what the man can do, woman can do, they even had better. So we would like to confirm from this panel table to know if truly the women can do better. So all right, we'll start with the Group Managing Director of NISAT, Ms. Annabelle Kamuche. Please, you'll be responding to this question on the ease of doing business in agriculture, export and import sector. And I will be taking you up on the policies and regulation. Are there policies in place in your own knowledge or in development to reduce bottleneck in equipment importation for business or agro-business in Nigeria? That is, then what are the prospects for creating a more supportive environment for both exporter and importer? From your organization, can you quickly help us throw light on this? Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. My name is Annabelle Kamuche. Can you hear me? My name is Annabelle Kamuche. I'm the Group Managing Director of NISAT. We basically facilitate export of Nigerian products through compliance. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So again, my name is Annabelle Kamuche. I'm the Group Managing Director of NISAT. We basically facilitate export of Nigerian products to the international market through compliance to international standards and certification as proof of compliance. We are working in partnership with a French company called ECOSAT that has accreditation to certify that products have complied with international standards. And these standards would include organic according to the USDA, organic according to the EU, Global Good Agricultural Practice Standard, other standards like HACCP, which is a food safety standard, ISO 22000. There are gamut of different international standards that are not SPS standards, which are mandatory standards, but they are voluntary standards because the market is constantly twisting people to comply with those standards. However, to be able to answer your question, when it comes to import of, when it comes to policies for ease of doing business, as far as the agricultural sector is concerned, I don't believe that we have sufficient policies that would help with ease of doing business in Nigeria. I will speak for my own sector, which is an emerging sector within an emerging sector. So it's a subsector within an emerging sector because we do not have a lot of indigenous. I think we are the first indigenous certification body in Nigeria. We are against the likes of SGS, Bureau Veritas, and the rest. However, we have not been able to enjoy any of these, say, tax holiday or whatever it is, because we still have to pay taxes like the Bureau Veritas of this world, the SGS of this world and all. Whilst we are trying to just ensure that people are complying with international standards, because there is no way you can speak of promoting non-oil export without translating it to being able to comply with international standards. And these international standards are actually standards that would help products to get into the market. But unfortunately, there are no policies in place that even would give investors an opportunity to invest in certification, for instance. Because if the government prefers to work with foreign certification bodies, if there are no tax holidays for indigenous certification bodies, there will not be any incentive for anybody to want to set up a certification body, for instance. And then when you talk about even for export, you find out that there are a lot of hurdles from all the taxes that people pay on the road. From Abuja, for instance, or from Kaduna, where you get ginger, all the way to Lagos, you cannot imagine the number of roadblocks that you would meet from Kaduna to Lagos just to export one container of ginger. And all of this you have to build back into the cost of the product. And then if you say, okay, look, I want to do fresh ginger, let me do air freight. The air freight cost in Nigeria is the highest in Africa. And so the question is, how do you begin to compete? You realize that we are saying we want to promote non-oil export, but we are just mounting it because the policies that would help to ensure that non-oil export is done seamlessly and profitably is not there yet. And then when you talk about mechanization, the question is how many people are interested in mechanization business? And how has the government helped to ensure that those who have invested in mechanization business have some sort of profitability that becomes a proof of concept for whoever wants to invest? What you have found is a lot of pockets of people are doing mechanization, and then you also find the government of states actually doing the same kind of mechanization instead of getting and partnering with people who already have existing mechanization companies to come in and work with them. So you find people working in silos, and where people are working in silos, people will not be able to invest because investors will only go to where they are appreciated. Investment capital does not go to where it is tolerated. It will only go to where it's celebrated. And unfortunately, as Nigeria and Nigerians, we do not appreciate investment money when it comes. Because everybody is thinking of I instead of thinking of we. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause for her. And we'll still come back to you just to welcome Mrs. Abdusalam, Manager, Nigeria Agricultural Insurance Corporation. First of all, we'll be asking you to let us know the challenge in insurance, agricultural insurance, because most of the time when you go across the nation, some of the people that have agricultural equipment, most of this collapse within a short space of time, and they are packed up, both within the private sector and government. I know government has been investing in agriculture for a long time. Government will buy equipment and etc. Just 6 months, 1 year later, all of this packed up, and as if there was nothing that can be done. So from your organization, Mark, can you please let us know the challenge you are having, you know, in people, is it people or you now, in ensuring that most of this equipment are well insured so that they don't just packed up, and if they have any issue, they could easily be replaced and all of that. So what are the issues? Why are people not, you know, coming to you? Is there any bottleneck, or people are not aware about what your organization is doing about agricultural equipment insurance? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, the moderator, and also the organizers of this Farmfatech. First, before answering the questions, I would like to make a brief introduction of the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation. And on behalf of the executive management and the staff of Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation, we are most being delighted to be here to present our various insurance products. The Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation was established in 1987, and it's owned by the federal government of Nigeria to ensure that the Nigerian farmers and the investors in all the mechanization are being protected against every natural hazard. And with that, we have our branch office in all the 36 states of the Federation. So wherever your investment might be, the NAEC office are there to handle your businesses. And like the agricultural aspect of it is being classified into two. We have the subsidized agri products, and we also have the commercial agri product. This subsidized agri product, for instance, if it is crop, is all the arable crops that we've been eating. That's the consumable crops, such as rice, maize, millets. While the commercial is also the citrus, like the cocoa, like the oranges, because after harvesting, you will think the investor will think of taking it to the market or thinking of export. So that is how the structure is. And apart from that, we have the duration of cover. This duration of cover determined from the period of 1 month to 6 months. It depends on the farmers we are insuring, either small, medium, or large scale. And on the poultry aspect too, we have the livestock. The livestock is also being classified into commercial and also subsidized. The subsidized aspect is all domesticated animals like the cow, the goat, the sheep, the piggeries. And with that, we charge a premium of 2.5%. That is the rate on the value of the livestock we are insuring. But first, before taking that insurance, we have process. What are the process? The first, we have to identify whom are we insuring, your investment, the location, the type of livestock we are insuring, the age of that livestock, is it foreign or is it local, and what is the value on it. Based on that, we also ask of the certified veterinary doctors, because in the organization we have all professionals, the veterinary doctors, the agronomists, the extension workers, that we ensure that the due diligence is being done. And after that, then we can now issue you, based on the satisfactory inspection, we can now issue you what we call the proposal form. This proposal form is a questionnaire that entails to know whom we are dealing with, your address, your location, your phone number, your email, the location of where the farm is, and the type of product that you are insuring with the corporation. So that is how it is. And based on that, you have to tell us the value. That is, we call it the sum insured. Based on it, we apply the subsidized premium rate of 2.5% if it is on livestock. But if it is on crop, it's 2%. And while the federal government and the state government will not bear the remaining 2%, and it's being calculated on a proportion. The federal government will take 37.5%, while the state government will take 12.5%. And the insured or the client will not pay the remaining percentage. But whenever there is any crisis, whenever there is any eventuality, then the corporation will come up and indemnify you, so that at least you can go back to your various businesses. So we have a lot of products based on the agricultural value chain. And with this very program, we are talking about agro technology. With that, the machineries, it also has to come under cover. First, under plan or risk. And with that, we have to know the type of machinery, the maker of the machinery, the value of the machinery. Are you insuring it whole, or are you insuring it part by part? And what does it cover? It covers damages. It covers if there's any, if it's stolen in the farm, or if there is damage while the work is going on. So with that, you notify us immediately. because based on that notification, after satisfactory inspection, that is when the corporation will now come in to ensure that you are being indemnified. Then we are talking about challenges. Definitely, when you talk about insurance, there's a lot of challenges. The first challenge is if the customer did not disclose the insurable value. That is, did not disclose us what the type of machinery he's insuring, the value, the source, because these are one of the challenges that we usually encounter. And the second aspect is when there is claim. Most insurance, especially when they took loan from the bank or any financial institution, what they did was they suppose whenever there is hazard or there is damage or there is loss, their first point should be NAEC. But mostly, one of these challenges, the client will not come to NAEC. Instead, they will go to the bank or they will go to the financial institution. And mostly, the financial institution have the workloads that they have a lot of customers that they might not remember to take your, they will not remember to take your complaints or bring your complaints to NAEC. So what we do in this fora, especially, we always advise the insured, when you key into the policy of NAEC, whenever there is such thing, you report your incident immediately to NAEC because it's owned by the federal government. And the purpose of setting this corporation is to ensure that the investor, the Nigerian farmers, are being protected against every natural hazard. But at times, when there is delay, because definitely there must be documentation, and based on that documentation, that will determine the insurance company or the corporation to sweep into action so that to assess the magnitude of your loss, to know whether it's total loss or partial loss. Based on that, then it will be compensated. And once we finish the documentation on time, within 1 or 2 weeks, you will be given an offer. And this offer is called DV, that is the discharge voucher. This offer is the sum of money that the corporation will indemnify you based on the assessment of the loss. But in the case where this information did not reach the corporation, there is no how there will be no challenges. That is where you hear a lot of insured will be saying, insurance company don't compensate, insurance companies are this and that. Meanwhile, there is challenges on the other part of the insured. So with that, all the insured or the investors has to be guided so that whenever there is such, whether you are on financial basis, whether you are taking a loan from the bank, whether it's an individual, whenever there is such cases or crisis, quickly report to the insurance company before reporting to the financial institution, so that will ease the various challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
you can see, I told you, ladies has a way of getting the attention of the audience. So she's really dishing out so many information we are not aware. And this is very important because I know out of this event, many of us want to go, into proper mechanized farming, and you want to get equipment, you want to get, talking about technology and all of this, you're talking about the kind of new level of, doing agriculture. And you need this kind of information, to support whatever you are doing. Ensure that these kind of things are part of your feasibility study in getting ready for your business. So you don't get equipment, and after a few months, the whole thing packed up and you don't have backup, for them. I'll quickly go back to the audience to please. We might not be giving mic directly for people to speak, but we rather request you to write your questions. From the experience, when you give mic, somebody will tell you, I have a question. The fellow hand up using the whole day, giving another speech. But, in order to manage that this afternoon, we'll encourage for some of us who have one question or the other as relating to things we're discussing here, even as we proceed. So we can just, answer your questions alongside while our panelists are responding to to issues. So please, if you have any question, our ushers will go around. Just raise your hands to let them know you want to drop a question. So please, ushers, ensure you at alert for anyone who wants to ask any question as relating to the issue we are discussing currently. You can ask questions in the area of, financing and risk management, which I'll be going back to NASA to quickly, because like Madam just mentioned now, these are information we literally do not know, or sometimes we claim or we think there is a bottleneck, whereas we are the one that are running away from the fact, from the main things. If you have issue, come back to them, or before you go into this thing, reach out to them, get more information, get clarity. Then you apply this in your plan. And anytime you have issue along the line, quickly get them along, so you can ensure that you are in business all through the year. You wouldn't put money in business and equipment backed up, no backed up, and then the whole things collapse. And this is what we experience most of the time in Nigeria. So the complaint continue and continue. But in this case, we are here now. We are privileged to be part of this event, and you are listening directly. So I will be going back to a man from NISA. I asked earlier about the financing and risk management in agriculture. I want you to please elaborate it, because I actually told you that I'm coming back to you. A lot of people are having issues not understanding or knowing what exactly your organization is doing. I think, of course, many people also know, they naturally believe that governments and government agencies, they do not really believe so much. But I want you to throw more light on what your organization stands for and how it can be of benefit to the audience. Please tell us a bit, just like Madam did, a bit intro about your organization again. So maybe people will have more knowledge about that organization, and tell us 1-2 solutions that the audience can actually take away from you. Thank you, sir. Just 2 to 3 minutes, please. Once I touch the microphone, you know time is over.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. Now, sir, let me clarify some stuff. There are 2 NASAs, please. Yeah, that's where the confusion comes. There are 2 NASAs. One is NASA PLC. The other one is NASA Microfinance Bank. Now, this is where the conflict comes in. I work for NASA PLC. NASA PLC is a de-risking company that facilitates finance for actors in the value chain, while NASA Microfinance Bank is a financial institution that lends money out or disburse government grants and subsidized funds. So we should understand it too. Okay, I go back to NASA PLC. As I said earlier in 2011 to 2012, under the former Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Adeshino, the current MD of African Development Bank, when he was a minister, he looked at the agricultural value chain in Nigeria and realized that there were 2 key challenges. The 2 key challenges are the value chains are balkanized, high risk, then the other side is there is no finance for agriculture. The budget for agriculture is what? We all know. We have ministry representatives here. They know the budget of agriculture in Nigeria. According to the Kyoto Protocol, I think we should raise budget for agriculture to 10% in every country. But have we ever reached even 6% or even 5%? The answer is no. So he found out that the budget from government was not enough. So we have to create an innovative institution that will facilitate finance into the agricultural value chain. That is why NASAL was brought on board. And it's a wholly owned corporation of the Central Bank of Nigeria in partnership with Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the Bankers Committee. So, what do we do? That is the question you ask. We are facilitators of finance into agriculture in Nigeria. We are risk takers on agriculture. Risk taking in agriculture is two ways. One is to fix the value chain in such a way that when your money go in, you come out without sticking. The other side is to put insurance on it. But as we listen to the Hajia from NAIC, by the way, is the mandate institution for agricultural insurance in this country up to the year 1918, when some private institutions start to offer agricultural insurance. And that was facilitated by NASAL. NASAL worked with NAIC to bring in innovative insurance that are not incident-based. We brought in some innovative insurance that can cover the entire process. So, we work as this. If you want to have money for production of agricultural commodities, or you want to buy equipment for mechanization, you come and discuss with us your business. We will tell you this is how you can remove the risk. If your business is not structured along the value chain, we advise you to structure it along the value chain. Then if you are working in silo, we advise you to make a cooperative. Then we even support you and guide you on developing your business such a way that it will fit into the lending portfolios of the banks. We work with almost all the banks.
That is excellent.
Yes.
Just to, before you round up, sir,
Yeah.
can you please let us know, this is one of the questions many people want to ask. Just like the commercial to also, want to ask for your great-grandmother's burial ground and every other things, that kind of strict conditions. What do you use as collateral? If people were to, I want to buy equipment for my agriculture, for my farm, or I want to build a silo, I want, what specifically do you require for collateral? Because this is where people run away or are not confident enough to come to you because they feel they don't have what it takes. Unlike other developed nations, the project itself is a collateral for the project. So all you need to do is to ensure that there is, support from every angle. We have insurance, who is insuring the whole project. We have, other bodies of government or agencies who are supporting this. So why can't we have a very simple form of doing some of this? Because this is why many people are running away. So let me hear from you, or the audience want to hear, what is that collateral, or what do you use as a bond for these loans, or to get your support?
Thank you very much. I am repeating this same question. For the early comers, I said clearly that NASAL is the big brother of the borrower and the lender. What do I mean? NASAL has a pillar called the Credit Risk Guarantee Pillar. What is Credit Risk Guarantee Pillar? Credit Risk Guarantee Pillar is the pillar that NASAL uses to de-risk the lender. What does it mean, de-risk the lender? We stand in step of that your collateral, that was your bond with the lender. If you go to bank today, I said it earlier, that they will ask for your palatial mansion in Rivers or in Lagos or in Abuja. And the farmers and the equipment service providers don't have such collaterals. So NASA stand in the gap for them and de-risk that lending, that loan, by as much as up to 75% on agricultural equipment.
Excellent.
That is exactly what NASA does.
So, thank you very much, sir. I deliberately asked the question just for curiosity's sake and for some of us who did not get that clearly. I'm sure you had him. So, after now, go and check what, NISA are doing. If you go to Maitama, you will see their big mansion. So, they are telling you that they are ready for you. All right, we'll quickly go.
Sorry, 1 minute. Not only Maitama, please. National PLC is in all the 36 states.
I mentioned that to show
Just
capacity.
go to Central Bank office anywhere in this country and you will meet national office. Thank you
very much, sir. I actually mentioned that just to show capacity. It just on a lighter note. Thank you very much for this very brilliant response to that question. And I'll quickly go to man from Sugar Council. And then I know he was actually talking about some part of collaboration. And I want you to respond about how you are working with local and international investors. How are you, council, getting in touch or working with both local and international investors to ensure there is maximum investment in this? Because I heard you when you were responding to your first question, you did mention how profitable sugarcane business really can be, and that fascinated my attention. Like, I really, want to have interest, because I am a farmer too, and I'm sure many people from the audience may want to know more. The moment you talked about being lucrative, they want to hear more. So, what efforts are you doing to ensure both local and international investors can actually invest in sugar business? Over to you, sir. Just 2-3 minutes.
Thank you. Hello. Hello. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Thank you very much for this wonderful question and very centered question. Actually, the National Sugar Development Council, before I go into the potentials and the prospect for those who want to key in, the National Sugar Development Council, under the leadership of Mr. Kamal Bakarin, the Executive Secretary, has put in place enabling environment, because the major problem confronting the sugar industry is highly capital intensive nature. A sugar factory, for example, that will produce a smaller capacity of sugar factory that will produce 10 trailers of sugar per day. That means we'll mill 50 trailers of sugar to produce 10 trailers, because the ratio is 1:10. If you have 50 trailers of sugar cane, you have 1 trailer of sugar produced. Of course, with byproducts, ethanol, bagasse, and others. But the enabling environment is the major challenge we have. The National Sugar Development Council is into collaboration with some sister agencies, both foreign and local, and even including the state government. Number one, the major issue in the sugar investment is provision of land. So the Sugar Council now has identified more than 38 sites from 3,000 hectares up to 30,000 hectares. And Sugar Council has already awarded contract for the viability assessment of this land to make sure that all this land that were identified are viable, and any investor that comes, he doesn't have problem of producing his sugar cane and then before he take it to the factory, it was already flooded with water, or the soil is not good, that he has to add a lot of fertilizer, and this increased the cost of production. And then the National Agricultural Development Council is also having a forum for both foreign and local investors, so in form of collaboration, those who may wish to only bring factory, and then the sugarcane can come from the community. So the enabling environment now being put in place presently, the National Agricultural Development Council has put in place a mechanism in which the community and other interested parties that want to grow the sugarcane can grow the sugarcane within the catchment area of a factory for a distance of up to 50 kilometers. You can grow your sugarcane, transport it to the factory. So what the National Agricultural Development Council do is they provide loan for those who want to go into this important investment. And to inform you another thing, not to digress further, sugarcane is the only crop you will grow once every 5 years. You don't grow sugarcane like rice. You grow the rice and you have to make cultivation next year. No. Sugarcane, when you grow it this year, you doesn't grow it until 5 years. How did it happen? As you do the land preparation, grow your sugarcane, provide water after the rainfall has stopped, do the irrigation, you cut the sugarcane to the bottom level. If you have 20 tons per hectare for the first year, the second year you don't need to plant any sugarcane. The root will grow and expand and multiply. So every standard you cut will multiply into 2. So instead of having 50 tons per hectare, next year you should have like 100 tons per hectare. And you don't need to do any land preparation. Just do weeding, apply fertilizer, it will grow. You will be continue cutting your sugarcane for 5 years before you come into doing land preparation and grading. So this is a profitable nature. In countries like Kenya, majority of the farmers, when they introduce sugarcane, industrial sugarcane, they turn into sugarcane production. And you hardly see anybody not doing sugarcane. In fact, the government has to announce that, please, some of you should grow food crops. We are not taking sugar all around, to tell you the profitability of this sugarcane. Apart from the sugar, you have ethanol. If we can have collaboration with the NNPC, which we are to start, the ethanol produced from the molasses can be used for our motor vehicles. Does not mean we should only depend on CNG. This ethanol, if you go to Brazil, India, they are using it for their motor vehicles. And it's a very clean, green energy. How much is a liter? We import 163 million liters of ethanol today. We have only one ethanol plant in Charagi, Kwara State, which is just producing 2,500 liters per day. We need more of this sugar industry because they produce byproduct like the ethanol. Apart from ethanol, the byproduct of that ethanol, after you remove the ethanol, you have the vineyards. That vineyards is a green fertilizer. It's nitrogen fertilizer. You don't need to take it anywhere. You put it back to your soil. So you see there's a lot of, you can produce a perform industry, you can form a wood and paper industry, a plywood industry from bagasse of sugarcane. So, and then apart from the extra energy. So there's a lot of opportunity in it. And despite that it's higher capital intensive nature, the new administration of Mr. Kabar Bakari is trying to collaborate with Utam Energy, Utam Skorotec, Indian Exim Bank, Brazilian Exim Bank, because we need $5 billion investment if we are to produce that 2 million tons. So we don't need to be importing sugar. Why? Every grain of sugar we import, we are exporting our job. One sugar factory that is producing 50 trailers per day will employ no less than 17,000, both skilled and semi-skilled. This one, you have not talked of the sugarcane farmers that will be, and I'm happy with our sister agencies from National Agricultural Insurance Corporation and NISAL. We also wish to partner into risk-based for our sugarcane grower. As you know, the National Sugar Development Council, if you are to go into complete sugarcane grower, not sugarcane plantation, will provide loan for you at single-digit interest and 100% loan, including insurance. You take your cane to the factory, and then the proceed, it will be deduction at source. The cost of 1 hectare of sugarcane production will be about 950,000, but you end up having like 1.7 million. So when you take your sugarcane, they remove the 900,000, and you come back with profit. Next year, another money will be given to you to start again. So there's ample opportunity. If we can have like this Farmfatech project, we are now trying to expand this at grower to be a minimum of 100 hectare, maximum of 500 hectare for private farmers who want to grow sugarcane and take it to the factory at a maximum distance of 50 kilometers within the catchment area of the factory.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Just maybe I should just allow you to answer 1 or 2 questions before I go to my next person, since you're already on the mic. 2 questions comes for you. I think you're already responding to, but then let me just read them out. One, to the Sugar Council. This question is from Mr. Isaac Insenyi, Dashi Agro. What plan does the council have to work with private business to help the exploring the value chain of the sugar industry? Is there room for a partnership? I think she's already, it's already talking about that, but you had the question, right? So the second question, just you answer together. Maybe we'll just be able to elaborate a little bit more on what you have answered, because I heard your response to this much earlier. But then, the second question to the same Sugar Council. All right. It's good you mentioned example of location where investors have acknowledged your foreign and feeder road also. So I've been instructed, I can't get this handwriting, sorry. Will encourage the participant to pursue collaboration with the council. Okay, so I think the fellow is just encouraging people to collaborate more with you. But the first question, quickly response to it before I move to the next person.
So thank you very much, and it's a right question, because all what the federal government is doing in this sugar investment, you see that the federal government under sugarcane at grower alone, we are spending almost 2 to 3 billion naira annually. For what purpose? Is to make sure the community are genuinely employment, not only the host community within the catchment area, even those from far distance can come and be part of it. So the collaboration you are mentioning is for you. If you are a farmer, you are also a collaborator. Why? Because you come into Sugar Council. Sugar Council, we are not into direct production, but we promote the local sugar production through establishment of various capacity of sugar factories. So you come to Sugar Council. Sugar Council is like an intermediary that will make sure they link you with an investor. Do you want to go into sugarcane production? You are highly welcome. We are also welcoming the civil servant, especially the retired civil servant, who want to go into commercial sugarcane. You come in, we identify you, and then do sensitization for you. We register you, we ensure that you are trustworthy and honest and hardworking, and then we give you training free of charge. And then we attach you to one of the sugar factory. And for the first thing, we will try you and give you like 10 hectares to start. If we discover you are doing well, we can multiply it into 50 hectares. Because now we want to go into a grower scheme, not only for 1 hectare, which we are doing in Savannah for Dangote Sugar Factory in Newman, and the Sunti Sugar Factory owned by Golden Flour Mill in Sunti, Niger State. We also want to expand to bring more collaboration in terms of the general public who want to key into sugar. Even if you are an electrician and you want to go into sugar, you are welcome. We will give you a free training, extension work, and make sure that you are very good in doing the work. And we will give you the complete loan from sugarcane, from land preparation up to harvesting. Our officers will be going around and will be holding this quarterly training to make sure that any new improved method in modern sugarcane farming we acquire overseas, we come and apply it here.
Thank you very much, sir. It's very interesting to know that your organization also consider it necessary to train our people. I'm interested. It interests me to know that you even give free training. So I'm sure many people want to know more of this. You know, Nigeria, the moment you mention free, you must be able to explain very well what other things involved, if there's any condition as related to the training. But having said that, I'm sure many people here, we want to key into that. And I don't know if you have a stand here where they can easily access you, so they can get more information on that training, because no education is a waste.
Yes.
So
Can I just say something on that, our locations?
Okay, yeah. You will do that because...
yes, briefly, we have a North Central and Southwest Zonal Office in Ilorin, Kwara State. We have Northeast Zonal Office for those who are not from Abuja. We have Northeast Zonal Office in charge of Northeast Zonal Office, Northeastern State, with the head office in Yola. We have a South Zonal Office, which we are going to establish by the grace of God very soon, and that one will take care of South, South, and Southeast.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so we quickly go back to our sister from the Group Managing Director, NISAT. And someone asked a question. You mentioned private certification. He wants to get clarity on that. You know, what certificate and how the certificate is carried out, you know, like the process on how to carry this certificate out. Then do you have the standard laboratory for your certification? That is a question from one of our, while you are responding to that, I will also request that you should please throw more light on what your organization is doing and how it can be of great benefit to the audience. Thank you, ma. Just for another 2-3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start from what our organization is doing and how it's going to be beneficial to the audience. And because we facilitate export through compliance to international standards and we provide certification, this certification, part of what we do is also what we call market linkage, where we are using market linkage as a stimulator to get certification business. So we are able to get international off-takers who want products that Nigeria has comparative advantage, and then we set up supply chain structures, we put farmers together, we train them on the standard that the off-taker wants for this kind of certification that they want the product to be certified by, and at the end of the day, this certification is granted with the standard. Hence, the products coming from Nigeria will be products that have complied with, be it national standards, be it international, national standard in terms of the standard of the importing country, or voluntary standards like organic or global gap or fair trade, any of these standards that the market would also be requesting for, and then ensure that that off-taker gets the standard of the product and the quality of the product that they want. We also, through our own certification, which is voluntary certification. So for people who are asking if we have laboratories, there are three different kinds of certification. There is the SPS standard, which is what SON, which is Standard Organization of Nigeria, NAFDAC, and Quarantine offers. Those are SPS standards, sanitary and phytosanitary standards. They are mandatory standards because Nigeria is a signatory to the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization treaty. These standards you require, if so for SON and NAFDAC, for instance, if you are producing in Nigeria, you require SON and the NAFDAC standards certificate to be able to sell your product in Nigeria, or because you are producing in Nigeria. So it's called an in-country standard that you must comply with. For phytosanitary, you need it is plant protection and pest control if you are exporting your product from Nigeria to the international market. However, all of these SPS standards are based on what is called the Codex Alimentarius standard. If in the pyramid of standards you see the Codex Alimentarius standard, then you will find the national standard, then you find the regional standard, and then you find international standards and private standards. So what we provide are private standards, and then it's different from laboratory testing, where they are testing for specific specifications as it relates to the product, moisture content, admixture, protein content, oil content, depending on the product. What we provide are voluntary standards that are third-party standards. These standards are market-driven because it is the market, be it for ethical reasons or for food safety reasons, because consumers are permanently looking out for those kind of standards if their products would get into, if you want your product to get into the lucrative market. And what do we identify as lucrative market? They are the US market, the EU market, the Middle East market, some part of the Asian market like the Japanese market, the Korean market, markets that are willing to pay premium for your product, and their consumers have a lot of knowledge as it relates to food safety and ethical standards. So I'll give you an instance. If you want to send your product as organic to the US or to the EU or to Japan or to Canada, you cannot just say, oh, my product is organic because I didn't use any synthetic herbicide or pesticide. You must comply with the standard of the country, the organic standard of the country. So if it's the US, you must comply with the NOP, which is the National Organic Program of the United States, or the EU standard, organic standard of Europe. And what it does is that it just gives, and then the person who is going to certify you must be a third-party, accredited third-party certification body that has been given power by the USDA or the EU or the Japanese Agricultural Council, that they can certify that you have complied with their standard. So is this certification that now gives you a proof, or gives whoever the off-taker is or the consumer, that you, with the proof that you have complied with the standards. So it's some sort of an assurance that you have gone through the protocol and that you have complied with that standard. I would also, so when it comes to certification, especially as it relates to voluntary certification, some of them used to be voluntary but now have almost become mandatory. In the US, there is what is called the Food Safety Modernization Act. And within the Food Safety Modernization Act is what is called the Foreign Suppliers Verification Program. Initially, if you want to export to the US for processed products, you only have to be registered with FDA. But post-COVID now, with the modernization of the FDA and the USDA Act, now with the Food Safety Modernization Act, you will not only register with FDA, you must comply with one minimum food safety standard, which is either hazard analysis critical control point, which people call HACCP, or ISO 22000. And then if you are sending to the Middle East, for instance, you must comply with halal. And so it is halal, it's also food safety HACCP. These are voluntary standards but are now becoming mandatory because the market is constantly now requesting you to comply with those standards if you want to sell into those markets.
Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. I mean, she actually did justice to that. And for further information on this, I think we can also go to their website, www.niceat.net. I repeat, www.niceat.net, niceat.net. I'm sure when I was saying www, some of you were thinking I'm going to say my God, the top. No. Sorry to disappoint you. I know this one. The card is with me. All right. That's just on a lighter note. We quickly go to the next panelist. So I'll be going to ask Chief Emmanuel, the representative of Chamber of Commerce in Port Harcourt, if you could please advise, because I want to give a balance to it actually. 85% of the question list I have here is going for NISA. 85%. If I could put that percentage. Most of the question, though some of them are repetition, but I will try to. So you should be getting ready, sir. All right. before we come to you, we'll still go to, let's get from Chief Emmanuel. What will you advise governments from local, state, federal level to possibly do to encourage agriculture? I mean, I'm sure they are watching you all over now, but then you never can tell. What will you advise? Because you stand in gap between business, entrepreneur, and government in a way. So what will you possibly tell so people might also be encouraged? Thank you. Just in 1 or 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. I think that question to me is a good question in the sense that what we are doing here today, coming from the Chamber of Commerce, where the chamber is standing in between the organized business sector and the government. It shows that there is a body that's intermediary between the government, between the business body and the government. And then it also denotes that one thing we have to know is that the government will always want to hear from somebody. They will not want to hear from everybody. And so, since the chamber is now standing in that gap, which is the somebody, there is this tendency that they will always want to hear also the problems that the individuals or the organized business are having, so that they too can come in where necessary to be able to solve them. So that question now I want to say, although there is this what I call I don't care a way of life by some government, because every government that probably that comes into power decide what he or she will want to focus on. And that is where the problem lies. And they forget the fact that the government is a continuous process. And at some point, where an idea from the past had come up either from the organized business sector to a particular government, and now the new government comes, will not want to toe such line. Maybe because the government that was being then was also interested and was partnering with the organized business sector, which is the chamber in particular. And then that government comes in, that government may not want to also be interested to listen to that chamber, maybe because of one man or the president or whoever that must have been in center. And that will begin to kill the idea of growing agriculture in our different sectors. So my advice now is that government in their bids to supporting agriculture should not look down on the ideas of the organized business sector, especially when it has to do with growing agriculture and the economy at large. Because government must continue to understand that every time a new government comes, there is already a process. There is already a standing procedure or a standing process which was there before them. And so what they need to do is to hear from the already existing and know where they can come in. Because idea of always trying to stand down the others or plans of the former just to continue a new process is not another best way of growing agriculture. But suffice me to say this. You see, we have also been talking about technology here and support from both whether government or even private sector. And then I want to say that there had been this made difficult pattern by both government and then the organized private sector, who have been standing in the gap of granting one support, agri support or loan and all the rest. So we must begin to understand that all these are but to what we call bureaucracy issues of denying the people their ability to increase on agricultural produce in our state or our countries. And then it also denotes that, you see, we are all crying that our naira is devalued, and the government is listening here today. Our naira is invalid because we are not a producing country. So until we learn to become a producing country, then our naira will be valid. And that can only come from agriculture. And that is why every agricultural personnel or agricultural sector or anybody that is here today, standing here or listening to my voice, must take it as a challenge. We must grow this country. This country must stand out, both here and outside. Because without that, we will continue to cry foul when it comes to our naira value. And that is my opinion on this. And Nigerians, please, let's focus on agricultural produce. And technology is coming in. Let's buy into those ideas. Because our land tenure system today can never be the same. Our agricultural, if you talk about land tenure system today, you will understand with me there are no more land. Yeah, our land is reducing every day. And so technology is only thing that can increase on our land tenure system. So as much as we talk about anything that has to do improving on agriculture, technology is one great factor that must be taken serious. And individuals cannot do it alone. Government must be part of it. Government must not look side. They must come and begin to show interest in this technology that will improve agriculture. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because this, what is explaining is what exactly Farmfatech stand for. This event, talking about, technology. And this is also quite vast because today we must understand that technology is key, agriculture is key, and they must be, a working together for us to be able to take advantage, full advantage of what agriculture can actually offer us. So in other words, because we're in a tech world, we need to ensure we put a balance to it. Most of the question I have here is actually going for NISA. But before then, we have some of it to the Sugar Council. But I feel this is also a reputation because he has responded to most of this question. Someone is asking, but I'm not expecting you to respond now, but we'll come back to that if it's not exactly what we have responded to. Well, this might not directly be your own response. It talks about security measures that are in place for the local and international investor for sugar. Just yesterday, while the CDS was fully represented by one of the general, I asked a question. This is one of the biggest challenges in our continent, country today, talking about people who are fully interested in going to farming. But they are skeptical because of the issue of insecurity. This is completely another debate for another day, but I can assure you that government is doing everything possible to ensure security is restored. So, because when you ask, like myself, and I'm someone who always advocates for people to go back to farming because the moment you can produce what we consume, the pressure reduces. Even I know how blessed our lands are. Like if you just throw a tomatoes water, the seed will begin to grow in your backyard, or pepper, even corn, or any of the seeds of the things agricultural produce we have. So I know most of the key excuses usually on security that, people are so afraid of S-men, kidnapping, and all that. But I'm sure from what they assured us yesterday that they are doing 24 hours work on this aspect. So that will actually answer that because security measure will not be for the Sugar Council to possibly answer. And of course, he also talks about
farmers training, and he said the process sugar can use to, sorry. He said, I understand you are advancing into technology, and as it stands, the technology for processing sugar to sugar cane, how can the local farmer be able to use it? Will there be a training? I mean, I'm sure he mentioned that, and we emphasized on that too. He did mention a lot of training, that's opportunity for many Nigerians youths who are willing. So I'm sure after this event, you should please reach out to him or to their organization. And he did mention places where their offices are situated. So please, let's ensure we do some more research on this, because you will definitely gain a lot from them. Okay, let me quickly talk about the insurance before we go to NISA, because I know you will be responding to so many questions. Just to be able to put a balance, I would want you to also quickly talk in a clearer term. How will you possibly, your organization, encourage people? Like I mentioned, many people do not see reason or the need or the importance of them insuring their equipment. When we are talking about modern technology, we're talking about technology, and you're talking about equipment, meaning they will need, and considering the situation we find in our world today about natural disaster, floods, fire incident, theft, I mean, all manner of things that could come up. So how will your organization be able to encourage the audience to say, these are the things you should do, on how you must be able to have insure your equipment, and let us know the advantage and why it's necessary. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. The first aspect of encouraging the insured is, first, we do a lot of sensitization. And this sensitization is across the geographical area locations. First, to build that awareness that in every investment, there's a risk. And when you involve your business, or you shift your business to the insurance company, meaning that you are reducing your risks or mitigating your risks to the barest minimum. Then after the sensitization, in the insurance, we have a lot of classes of insurance. For instance, like the burglary. Even with the technology, you have to think of the safety of your equipment. You have to think of the safety maybe of your farm in case if there is natural hazard, just like the flood, the drought, the disease, the pest, so on and so forth. So with that, you have to think, as an investor, I'm out to make profit. And being that I'm out to make profit, how can I minimize peradventure if there is risk? Because for us all seated here, every one of us took risks to be here. And if every one of us has taken that risk to be here, what are we thinking? How can we minimize that risk? With that, we have what we call the GPA, that is the group personal accident. So in your company, either private or the government entity, you have to think the human factor, or the human that is handling those technologies, are they covered? If they are covered, because under the GPA, we have 4 benefits. And the first benefit is, in case while doing your duty or applying those tractors, if there is temporary disability while on duty, if there is permanent disability while on duty, if there is also medical facility, and if there is also death. Instead of your organization paying that bill, you will shift that risk to the insurance company. So with that, you also have to look at the risk aspect so that at least you can reduce your risks to the barest minimum. For instance, like the tractor can be stolen. And if it is stolen, once you key into the insurance factor, definitely the insurance will compensate you so that you go back to your business without time wastage. But in our country or in Nigeria, we don't believe much in insurance. But first, it's always paramount and for every investor to ensure that your products are being under insurance cover for you, shifting your risks to the insurance company. Because shifting the large risks to the insurance company, we also have what we call the reinsurance. If the insurance company cannot carry all the risks, we can then fact it to the reinsurance. And this reinsurance is like a pool where at least other risks is being domiciled there whenever there is any accident or whenever there is any disaster, all the insurance company will come together and ensure that your risk is being compensated so that you can go back to your various businesses. Then you have to think of the machineries too. You have to think of your building. The building also has to have an insurance cover against burglary, against fire and special perils. In case if this hazard happens, what is the next? The next is for you to be compensated by the insurance company. So it's good when you key into this policy, you are rest assured that your risk is being minimized to the barest minimum. Because we have a lot of classes of insurance. Is it the marine insurance? Is it the goods in transit? You are moving your product from one end to the other. Or is it the storage? All those, they have the insurance component that you will ensure that your risk is being reduced, and whenever there is such, the insurance company will indemnify you so that at least you will go back to your own business without suffering much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah, so just before you finally round up that, there's a question, but then I think they're supposed to reach out to you, but then he said, what is the cost or the percentage for insuring from
insuring what?
Machines, I think that's what I was trying to say. Farm machine. Asking, do you have a specific percentage for your insurance?
Yes, I've been sure when I was making my first presentation, I make emphasis on rates. There are always rates on insurance. But first, you have to give us the value. Because our rates especially start from 0.4% upwards. It depends on what you are insuring and also the type of machinery. It depends on the rates that you will be given. But if it is on agri, the agri once is subsidized, you know that what you are paying, you are only paying half premium. For instance, just like I said, if it is crop, you are paying 2%, while the remaining 2% is being shared on a proportion by the federal government and the state government. The federal government, 37.5%, while the state government, 12.5%. Then the insurer will pay 50% or will pay the 2%. Right. So that is how the ratings are. So most of our rating, it determines the products that you are bringing, the value, the make, that will determine the premium rating, according to the National Insurance Commission law. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. Now I have a lot of work. Our man from NISA, everybody are asking first question from you, but then I might not be able to ask all of them, but I want you to please take note and listen carefully, as I will just read some of the important ones out, including some individuals who are, pouring out their frustration. But then I will try to balance the whole things together for you so you can use the wisdom to handle them. One, at what point of a transaction does your CROS, I'm sure you understand what CROS means, because this fellow didn't put the breakdown. If you understand what CROS means, so this fellow is asking, at what point of a transaction does your CROS set in? Is it when you must have prepared the agricultural equipment or before purchase? That is number one question. What is the maximum tenor of the CROS? Dr. Inamdi. All right, before I take this, okay, this one says, how will an agency in the state obtain tractor implements from the federal government through the help of NISA? I think you can also reach out to Minister of Agric. They do this. But then, if you have answer for this, you can also add it to your response. Number 3, how can someone who is into SME, agriculture in Nigeria, benefit from NASA's or Farmfatech? These are part of the benefits you are getting. It's one of the benefits that you can be able to know where you will ask your question. So, just as I'm reading out these questions, the key ones that you have the answers to, you will be noting them, sir, because of our time. So, Mr. What is the interest rate to borrow from the bank as an organization? We have a group of clusters, cooperatives we work with, but we always have this issue of collaterals and interest rates when trying to get loan for our cooperatives from the bank. All right, number 3, we have that the seed fund provided for risk sharing has been eroded. If that is true, how then do you pay claims and IDP rebates? All right. I'm rounding up. Okay, so is NISA Microfinance a subsidiary of NASA? Please, how do they relate with each other? Then, okay, so let me take this. Okay, this is the same question this fellow, someone else asked earlier. So this fellow is asking, how can Nigeria or Nigeria compete with foreign products? This is very clear. Just for example, talking about the rice or any other produce we could talk about. The moment you can have the best, because one thing we must get the fact is that what we produce in Nigeria are mainly organic, and they are very good compared to any, forget the packaging and the refining. Most time they even take from our soil to rebrand. So when it comes to agricultural produce, I can assure you, if you are talking about technology, we can say yes, we give it to them. If you talk about manufacturing, you give it to them. But when it comes to produce, I can tell you for free that our agricultural produce are more better. So answering your question in how it can compete, we need to upgrade our packaging and awareness and ensuring we do more about letting people know the advantage of what we have locally. Then lastly, before I will allow the NISA representative to respond to this, one of the audience also wrote this to say what we are doing is more or less as if it's a waste of time because these people never give any support or loan. It says that he applies for NASA since the last administration in Kano. He didn't get any of it. He also applied, he has been to their office here. So maybe this person can also reach out. Thank God you are here now. You'll be responding to some of these difficulties people are facing And somehow, so many people have been frustrated and, get discouraged of so many talks, no action. I wish, that's why I'm saying that we should, really talk about the bottleneck. What are the main issues? Not allowing people to be able to access some of these great opportunities or benefits that government is offering. So, in responding to some of these questions, I'm sure you'll be able to throw more light. Maybe the fellow who is asking this question out of a bit frustration could also learn and probably be directed to where on how he can be able to get help. Over to you, sir.
Wow.
Questions.
Okay. First, thank you very much, because we find opportunities like this to educate people on the work of NASAL and the status of NASAL. I will start with the most critical that everybody wants to hear. Somebody said the CRG, not CRS, please, is Credit Risk Guarantee Fund. Credit Risk Guarantee Fund is one of the 5 pillars of NASAL, and it has the highest percentage of allocation. Your answer is no, sir. In short, it will shock you. NASAL, as of 2023, has facilitated over 240 billion naira into the agricultural sector under our CRG. And our total portfolio risk stands at 0.01%. You can go check with the CBN. So the money is intact, sir. And we can pivot on that money to 10%. So we have not even reached, like, say 20% of our portfolio. And the risk we encountered is only 0.01. So the fund is there. NASAL is standby, Kankwe. So let me start from the other one. He said, at what point do CRG set in? CRG set in after your bank has done appraisal of your loan and they are comfortable with it. Let us understand, the CRG certificate is given to the lender, not to the borrower, please. NASAL is just standing on behalf of the borrower. We are just like the borrower because we cover the risk that is embedded in the borrower's business. So we are de-risking the lender, that is the bank. So it's when you apply to the bank and the bank has appraised your facility, is supposed to ask you for collateral before disbursement. They said pre-disbursement condition, one of them is collateral, and that is the key. So that is when NASAL CRG comes in and issue a certificate of guarantee to the bank that your money is covered at so percent. In case this business fails, NASAL balance sheet will be hit directly. It doesn't take up to 1 month. NASAL will pay you off, then NASAL will continue with the business to recover the lost investment. So let us understand that one very clear. The tenure of CRG is renewable after every cycle. That is after every accounting year. It's renewable. Because some people will take CRG this year and they don't want it next year because they think they can pay off. So 10 tractors. 10 tractors is good if you have your captive market. That is, you have cluster of farmers that is verifiable. And you go to your bank, NASAL will stand in for you to get your 10 tractors and go and service those farmers. SME benefit from NASAL. SME, the categorization of SME falls with smallholder farmers in Nigeria, and then medium-sized agripreneurs. So if you are an SME, it depends on, are you a farmer, or are you an ag-tech company, or are you a mechanization service provider? It all depends on your category. For farmers, anybody that is producing on 5 hectares downward is considered smallholder. Anybody above 5, based on CBN categorization, falls into medium. So if you are going to borrow and you are waiting 75 million, you are SME. So that is the categorization. So in short, NASA was formed for smaller people because the bigger guys have collateral, so you can benefit. What is the interest rate? The interest rate depends on your negotiation with your bank. The only thing NASA does is if it can help you process the IDB, it will now cut it down. That's the incentive. But the interest rate depends on the lender. If it is a subsidized fund, like from federal government through DBN or BOI now, you know the interest rate is 10% downwards. But if it is commercial bank, it's market driven. So the only thing NASA can do is to subsidize you through the IDB. So by the time they subsidize you after you pay your interest, you will see that the interest rate, if you calculate it, it will reduce to maybe 16, 15, or 17%. The next question is NASA Microfinance Bank a subsidiary of NASA PLC? The answer is no. National Microfinance Bank is a corporation of itself with its board and management, but we are all under CBN. Initially, it was the concept of NASA. That is why NASA is there, because the commercial banks were not forthcoming on time, and you know agriculture is timely. So we said we should form a subsidiary that we can have control over to release money at when due within the cropping calendar. But as it goes, the parent company has a different plan, and a new organization that is independent was created. That is NASA Microfinance Bank. The other question is, how do Nigeria community? I will not answer that one, yes. I'll answer the last guy that say waste of time to apply to NASA. Please, is it NASA Microfinance we apply to, or is it NASA PLC? Because NASA PLC does not disburse funds. Even the ABP that we did, we have channel banks that assess and everything, then we just disburse. So we don't disburse fund. So if you applied for fund, direct fund, I believe it must be Microfinance Bank. And their offices are all over Nigeria. Please direct your grievances to that place. But if it is CRG, meaning your bank did not approve your application, that's what it means. Because if your bank approves your application, NASA will put CRG on your business. So the last thing that I'll attempt to answer is, how do Nigerian commodities compete with international commodities? Yes, I heard the moderator say that Nigerian commodities are 100% organic, so there are calibrations of organic. You understand? If you did not use chemical, you think it's organic. But as she said, there are circumstantial conditions. In short, if your farm is here and maybe some 200 meters away somebody apply chemical, it has already become inorganic, or somebody shit somewhere else. So there are a lot of things that make things to be organic. So there are levels of organics. So that is why people need to go and undertake those certifications so that they know the practice that will make their commodity organic. It's not only the use of non-chemical fertilizers that makes things to be organic. So I don't think I've missed anyone. If there's anyone, then I'll treat it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. That's so smart to quickly respond to this so many questions. And before we bring this to a close, I'm going to have just a light general question, because from the question raised there, some people also ask, where can we get grants? Now, not loan again now, grant. You know, because if I know where to get grants with ease, I would have gone to get to. But then I know there are organizations, both local and international, that give grants. At the same time, even in my small capacity, we've given grants and support some, young people one way or the other. So grants is a voluntary decision by some individual. But I don't think governments directly give grants, free grants. I mean, grant simply means the money you are not returning. So, but then, just for the light, a free light of this, conversation, I want to ask if any of my panelists will be able to have any answer or advice or guide to where some farmers might be able, or small business owners might be able to access any form of grant. If you have an idea, I will make it a free response. So start with you, ma'am.
Okay, so for grants, it's important that when you want, so first and foremost, donor agencies are the people who give grants. Donor agencies, development organizations like the USAID, CNFA, GIZ, these are guys that give grants. However, for you to be able to access grants, you must position your business or your agricultural practices in line with their focus. So if, for instance, the focus of Mercy Corp, for instance, Mercy Corp is giving grants now for ginger. If you are not doing ginger, you will not be able to access that grant. If their focus is on sustainability and you are not doing sustainable agricultural practices, you will not be able to access the grant. If it is a gender-related grant and your agricultural practices is not gender inclusive, for instance, it's not probably women-based, you will not be able to access grants. But what most international bodies do is that you look at, if you go online, you will find different kinds of programs that are available. Make sure that you organize your business in such a way that it aligns with their focus in terms of if it is gender, if it is sustainability, if it is biodiversity, whatever it is. Once you align and your focus crop is aligned to their own focus crop too, you will be able to access those grants.
Thank you very much. Any addition?
As she said, there are a lot of regional organizations that are giving grants. But as she said, you have to align yourself. For example, now, as it is now, ECOWAS through Agro is trying to support millers with 30% of your project. So, but you know, you must belong to a milling association. You must follow up on their meetings before you know such things. So if you sit down in your cubicle doing your business alone, you will never know where grant is. Then let me just make this as a point of information for the people. People think government money are free money. It is not true. That is why some people are crying now. They are getting debit from their account because of global standing order. They collected the COVID-19 money. They refuse to pay. Anywhere you go, if you have NIM, they will hit your account. You collect Anchor borrower, you refuse to pay. Anywhere you go, unless if you deregister yourself from Nigeria, they will hit you, whether you change 10 banks. So please, let us build our business in order to be sustainable and pay back what we borrow. That's additional information, please.
Thank you very much. At this junction, we give a recap to this session. I also want to add to that, I know of a friend who also got a grant of over 2 billion naira to his business. He's into dairy farming, and he's been doing this over the years, and he's doing a lot. So just like they said, if the moment you are in line with a certain people's interest, and they felt, oh, what you are doing add value to whatever they might be interested into, and they have the resources, they support it, you know, one way or the other. The moment they have confidence, they might have, because before anybody give you any grant, you know, they will check you in and out, and they will, you know, be able to build confidence in you, knowing that when they invest their money or put their resources in your care, it's not going to be a waste. So they're going to look at the value it will have to them or to the society. So for you to be able to access any grant, you must have a specific area of interest, and that interest the people you might want to seek that from. So on this note, I want to sincerely appreciate all of our panelists this afternoon for giving justice to some of the questions. Let's give a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause. And so before we will leave. I'm going to invite our leaders in the house to please come forward, just those at the front, the VIP seat, to join the panelists for group photograph. Please, you might be on your feet. We really want to appreciate you for responding to many of our questions this afternoon. And that is not the end of it all. I can assure you that many of people in the audience will still want to reach out to get some clarity. And then please don't hesitate to respond to them at appropriate time. Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. Let me stand here. Thank you very much. We may go back to our seat. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that was the day 2 panel session. Good agricultural practice and standards for export. Can we give a round of applause for the panelists as they go back to their seats? We will take a short break, after which we will come back for some exhibition showcase. The first one is food processing and food security, and this will be featuring Kuyash Farms and Mafa Rice Mills. Thank you very much.